In one day, the biggest day, the best day, we sold 225,000 in 24 hours. Well, hi, everybody. This is Diane Gilman, formerly known as Queen of Jeans, and we're going to get into that today and how that happened. By now, the proud host of Fashion Thursdays with Diane. Well, I wonder if you heard the news. It came out about 9 days ago. My old stomping grounds, where I really put together my identity, my fashion, my purpose, my career. Whoa! QVC HSN declared bankruptcy for $6.6 billion. Yeah, they're reorganizing. Yes, they're coming back within 90 days, but somehow I think we all know it's never going to be the same. But I feel like a species, like a polar bear on an ice floe in the middle of global warming, and the ice floe is just shrinking and shrinking and melting away, and there's less territory. My history at HSN and then QVC International was so unexpected on my part. Selling on television was not anything I ever aspired to. I didn't even want to be in front of a camera. I even hated just having a picture taken of me. But once I got into it, I realized this was not just selling. It was such a deep, heartfelt customer connection. My product, absolutely, totally, deeply personal. I believed in it 100%. I wore it every day, the middle-aged jean. It was about love and devotion, also about sisterhood and shared experiences. We were all, as an audience and a presenter, me, growing older together, and how were we going to take care of it together, and how were we going to bolster one another's moods and everyday life. It was such a sisterhood and passion for product. That was the key. The number one vendors like me and Joy Mangano, for whom they made the movie Joy, we were truly passionate about our product, and we invented it where maybe no other retailer wanted it, but we were given that chance on HSN. I have to say it was also a community for compassion. When I got breast cancer in 2017. When I came back on air 10 months later, female community, my audience literally burnt out the phone lines. The support was so touching, so deeply heartfelt. You would never, ever get that in any other medium. To see tele-retail that is about 45 years old now. It's dependent on cable TV. That's losing 9 to 10% viewership a year. And it's dependent on how it chooses product. It was a baby boomer audience. They're fading away, going over that rainbow bridge. And it's losing retail, HSN, and QVC about 8 to 9% of its sales per year. And they just did not want to move on. Now we're talking about, oh, we're going to go on TikTok shop, but it's not the same. And the viewership may just be a little bit too old and too stubborn to actually follow. For sure, I will tell you, influencers are the next step from a show host and a guest. I want to just talk for a second about the roots of tele-retail because they're slightly hysterical and definitely hokey in a dear kind of way. 1994, I was in a terrible lawsuit with my fashion partners, couldn't use my name, got a phone call one day, thought it was a joke, hung up on them, got a call back and thought, oh, who are these maniacs? And it was like, hi, is Diane there? I said, yeah. From QVC. We'd like to have you come on air and design collections for us and show them. And I said, well, you're $1 short and a day too late. I can't use my name. I can't have that kind of label. Can't be Diane Gilman. They said, oh, that's no problem. We'll just call you Diane. Yeah, they were right. It was legal. And in 1994, I got my start in television at the age of 48 and a half. Unbelievable. I liked the idea of going to HSN. Even better after a year at QVC, more creativity, more freedom. Well, HSN, this is so great. HSN started in 1977 as local radio station. Bobby Ray Carter, one of the original hosts, she was just given a farewell show, had been on air for 43 years. She would dress up in a spangly evening gown and they would sell over the radio. It was radio only, like CZ bracelet for $2 each. But you had to get in your car and come to the radio station to pick it up. But there would be Bobby Ray in her evening gown presenting it to you. And then they went to local cable. These were the roots of tele-retail. I joined and I was selling my washable hand-painted silks. And the audience loved them. We couldn't use silk anymore. We used a polyester look-alike, but they were bright, they were artistic, but they weren't me. And long story short, in about 2004, we got a female CEO. Her name was Mindy Grossman. She came from Ralph Lauren Polo. She was a genius. And I'm going to say genius, AEAN, genius. And I, in the meantime, was inching up to 60 years old, had a middle-aged body, couldn't wear jeans anymore. And my background was in the 60s into the mid-70s. I dressed rock and roll stars in my hand-painted, slashed, patched, hand-jeweled denims. I was outraged. And one day, just to solve my own problems and my own ego, I went out about 3 yards of denim and created a jean for a middle-aged body, very different in terms of measurements. A size medium had a 32, 33-inch waist with 7 to 8 inches of stretch because we sewed the waistband in a different way. I wore that jean. I suddenly didn't feel invisible anymore. I didn't even feel that middle-aged anymore. And I thought, you know what? If I feel that good back in denim, wouldn't millions of women? And I took the idea to the first female CEO HSN had ever had. She gave me 1 hour on air. Well, it was a February morning at 5 a.m., still in the dark, Eastern Standard Time, freezing cold outside. And guess what? We sold all 5,000 jeans out in 3 minutes. Yeah, that was the beginning. At the very height of the brand, which was called DG2, because we still were selling washable silk, you could see where the success was. In one day, the biggest day, the best day, we sold 225,000 in 24 hours. There was nothing like it. You could talk directly into that camera and feel you were having a one-on-one conversation with each and every individual customer. We did a show because I addressed Janis Joplin in denim, where we flew in. This is how creative it was. We flew in Janis Joplin's brother to be on air and talk about his sister. They bought a VW bus. I had this hippie bus in the 60s going into the early 70s with big flowers painted all over it. They painted the bus. They had all of this Janis memorabilia laid out, and that was our 2-hour show on TV. It was like nothing I had ever experienced before. And I think it was real that I called it infotainment. You were giving information about product while you were entertaining the customer. So I was called the Queen of Jeans. As we go through it, you'll see I'm always holding up a pair of jeans. I'm always wearing a pair of jeans. I want to say that it got so creative that they even sent the set designer to Paris to see some of my favorite stores. And we took the major mama of it all, Louis Vuitton store on Champs-Élysées, and copied the lighting fixtures and the shelving and that became the classic DG2 set. There I am with Suzanne Runyon, one of the best hosts ever. And look at the pricing. It was brilliant. And I fought for that pricing constantly. And there I am with Bobby Ray. Yeah, here I am with Kirstie Alley. She wore DG2 and I met her and she said, yeah, I'll come on air. And we did 2 shows together. She was so funny, so intelligent. She was a trip and she just told jokes through the whole show. All 2 hours of it. We had some high times, ladies. I will tell you. There I am with Bobby, and we were kind of mocking doing a late night interview show. And there I am with my hair before I really started getting professional blow dries over a 31-year history on air. I became, I think, more professional, understood my role within the entire plethora of stars. There I am with my DG2 set. Wasn't that just gorgeous? That was really at the height of it. That was probably about 2014. I left 2017 after my diagnosis of breast cancer. Here you are, and you're showing gene after gene, and you've got a reason for each and every one of them. A new cut, a new embellishment, a new hand painting, because I brought all of that artistic awareness with me. We were still at the height of it all. 2017, QVC bought HSN. Mindy Grossman, the brilliant, super brilliant female CEO. There I am with #1 host, Colleen Lopez, who was incredibly generous and so personable and honestly so talented that she came up with her own fashion line. We dealt with a baby boomer audience that was aging out the way I was. This was my first appearance back on air with white hair. I decided not to dye my hair. And you know what? I appreciated my audience. I was a baby boomer. They were a baby boomer. But guess what? We were all aging out together. And it never occurred to me that I would see the end of an era as clearly as I did when about 10 days ago, QVC announced $6.6 billion worth of debt that was going to need to be forgiven for them to be able to go on being a television network on their own along with HSN. Somewhere along the way, social media took over. Cable TV started shrinking, but so did the mentality of the audience have a shrinking tolerance to time. Now you didn't go take an entire day and go shopping or sit there and watch your favorite series of shows on HSN or QVC. You went on, you got your brand, and Amazon changed everything. Unbelievable efficiency. Didn't pay for shipping, didn't pay for returns, but tele-retail did not. They were very slow to pick that up and catch on to it. I'm going to say this. When you're #1, and QVC was #1 for years, and I did QVC International and HSN America. When you're #1, you can tell people you're not going to change because your concept is bulletproof and it's all going to come back again, except time only moves in one direction, forward. And if you are not moving forward with time, then you are stuck in time and memory and backward. So strange to watch that all slowly disappear. Just watch the sands of time cover it all up, and it just becomes a memory. And now they're going to try to convert themselves to TikTok shop. And I buy on TikTok. Doesn't operate the same. And it will always be a huge challenge for them to be who they were. QVC and have to, and I will say it, late rather than early, convert to TikTok philosophy of buying. And you know what? By the time they convert to that, I will make you a bet, TikTok shop moves on and it's yet something else. People always ask me, what is perhaps the most unique part of growing older? And I turned 80 this year, and I think the most unique part of it is watching what was once vibrant and alive and important and growing slowly just fading away. And you're saying to yourself, wait a minute here. This was everything I was, and how unbelievably important it was to me, how I wanted to be part of building it, which I was, and making it the best it could be, which I hope I did. And having it be so right. And guess what? It's just all a memory. You know, the other day, I was born in 1945. The other day, I was watching one of my favorite movies ever, a murder mystery called Laura. I was watching it on cable TV, and somebody walked into my apartment and said, "What is that old-timey movie in black and white?" And I said, "Old-timey? Like that was filmed the year I was born. And it's like my favorite movie." And they said, "You watch black and white?" And I thought, I am turning into a fossil. But I want to come out of that statement by saying that there is one super important lesson to learn. Whether you are QVC, HSN, or you are Diane Gilman, the Queen of Jeans, you've got to move on with the times, or you're going to get stuck with your feet in cement. Everything today is about moving forward, and I will guarantee you that where tele-retail had almost half a century to be born, develop, become a dominant, vital, really alive and pulsating form of female shopping, there will not be that kind of half a century luxury of timing for a TikTok shop to develop to its height, be crowned as the royalty of online shopping and influencers. It will be on to the next thing because it's all developing faster and faster, and we're all going to have to find a way to grab onto that ship that's going at 1,000 miles an hour and convert with it. But wow, it is just amazing to me. I really feel like, what? It was just here today. And now, within a few years, it will just be a memory and a whisper. A cautionary tale of be honest, be self-aware, know when you need to change, and move with the times. Here I am with Callie Northagen, and actually the girl leaning on my shoulder is Corrine, who did all the dressing and the prep work, and she had all this theater experience, but also she was a dresser for all of the backup rock musicians for the Rolling Stones for like 25 years of touring, and eventually married the tour manager for the Rolling Stones. So, you know, that Corinne and I still talk today. What a kind soul, and talented too, because I was complicated. I had 40 pairs of shoes in the dressing room and tons of jewelry, and we're doing hair and we're doing makeup at the same time. We're trying to squeeze me into a pair of jeans because I've gained 5 pounds, and yeah. That was Corinne. This guy, I think it was Janis Joplin's brother. I'm pretty sure it was, but it could have also been somebody who was auditioning. Male hosts were weird. I was not thrilled with working with them. I don't think they experience the ins and outs of a female body going through menopause and trying to get into a pair of jeans. And I think that a lot of what I said was really personal to females, but look at my hair. Wow. Okay, I gotta say, I loved Suzanne Runyon. She was honest, she was tough, she was funny, and she actually moved back to Pennsylvania and is on air for HSN with the whole QVC merger now. She was very, very good host. And I also love the t-shirt I was wearing. I loved a lot of the clothes I created. I really did. This was Bobby Ray Carter, 43 years on air. The consummate professional, lovely to work with, a very, very solid and good friend. And she just a couple of weeks ago did her farewell show. Amazing. I mean, for her on air for 43 years and me on air for 31 years, it is a little disorienting to say goodbye to your audience and know they're fading away anyway. The whole thing is slightly strange. You got to get your head into it. Kirstie Alley. We did a couple of local press conferences together to promote the shows. She looked fantastic. This was one of her thinner periods. She has since passed on from cancer. That was a tough woman. She really and truly was great on air, great with customer base, understood how to play a camera. I learned a lot from working with her and talking to her, but she did not let you in. She let you know right up front that she knew she was a valuable celebrity and you weren't in this to become friends. You were just in it to create great sales and do a show, gotta say. Here's Bobby in one of her many hairdos as me. Would you believe this was at the beginning of HSN? I had never gotten a blow dry. That was not a blow dry. That was just like air dry in 100% humidity, 100-degree weather of Clearwater, Florida. But we were mimicking a late night host celebrity show, and she was asking me questions about creating my jeans. Everything started happening in 2005 when I created the first GG2 jean, and it was just meteoric the way we shot up. At our height, we were selling easily 25,000 jeans an hour. And here was a set created especially for me, the DG2 set. Beautiful, huh? I mean, really, very impactful. Very well done. At the time, the network was doing so well. It was so vibrant and so alive that we had our own set designer and we could design our sets as an artistic partner with them. And they did a beautiful job. This was just perfect. This, I'm not sure who that host was, but that was my set that was copied from the mothership Louis Vuitton, biggest Parisian store right out off the Champs-Elysees. And this was literally set up and torn down for every single hour or 2 hour block you were on air. And look at how beautiful it was, how impactful it was. They made the specific lighting fixtures. I mean, this was HSN tele-retail at its height, and it was like shopping. Really upscale store. I think the audience really felt how much of our hearts were invested in it. You were really proud to be part of this. I am and always will be. Here's Colleen Lopez. She now has her own fashion brand on HSN, but she was the number one host. And you could literally sell 10,000 jeans with Colleen in a matter of 6 minutes, 7 minutes. She was someone to deeply respect, hugely admire. And I begged to have her as my host and be on air with her because it was guaranteed you were going to do well. They, as an audience, trusted her. She was so genuine. And so between her and I on air together, it was wild, the sales you racked up. And at the time, I loved the product I was creating. And here I was coming back on after breast cancer, and my audience was so kind to me and so loving and so caring. Really powerful round of chemotherapy and radiation and a double mastectomy left me with having to consider, could I physically take the hours, middle of the night shows and the flying and Could I do all that after treatment? And I realized at a certain point, I had to admit to myself I was going to have to wind it down. But, I wasn't somebody who was retiring at the age of 55. I was already in this photo about 75 years old, 76. So I retired and left HSN and QVC International at the age of 78. And I would have gone on if I could have. And if breast cancer had not reared its head and gotten in the way, I was diagnosed when I was 72. Treatment went on for about 3 years, all told. I would have stayed, but I couldn't. I couldn't. And even more truthfully and more genuinely, I could already see cable TV was not the same. People were getting their entertainment. Hey, so if you know me, you know I am a big believer that red light is the future of wellness and beauty. Mito Red Light is my new absolute favorite. It's like giving your cells a power boost. It's incredible. So red light therapy helps support energy, skin health, and even reduces inflammation, all with the simple power of light. Red light, that is. I use mine every day, and I can feel the difference. If you want to glow from the inside out, check out Mito Red Light because your cells feel energized and you feel unstoppable. Use my code below on mitoredlight.com for a discount and see why red light therapy is lighting the way to better aging. Mito Red Light. Power your cells, power your life. Payment from internet. It was different. All good? Okay, good. Yeah, that's painful. In a way, it was painful to see it. But it's very strange to be in something for as long as I was. And guess what? Time moves on. Who knew? Even for me, and I must better be one of the only humans left that still watches cable TV. I don't even watch cable TV anymore. I watch CNN and MSNBC, and I get the rest of my news from TikTok or Instagram. Thank you so much for listening to Too Young to Be Old podcast. The episode may be over, but the fun doesn't have to stop here. Find us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at The Diane Gilman, or visit our website, thedianegilman.com. If you like the show, leave us a rating or a review and subscribe so you don't miss the next episode. And until then, don't forget, age is just a number. Together, we'll prove that we are all too young to be old.